the truth, do you have any idea, or does anyone know when it may come out in hardback, or rather?
It's out right now, but you have to go through Amazon and order it directly from Zen Publications, and it takes like probably 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I saw it on Amazon. It was like $19 plus $3.99 shipping.
Oh, okay, good.
It's coming actually from Zen Publications, I think, in India.
Okay.
That wouldn't be hardback.
Not hardback, paperback rather.
Yeah, paperback, exactly.
Yeah.
Non-Kindle.
Yeah.
John, is it available in India, John? Because I'll be traveling in a month.
Oh, wow.
You're saying it is available in India? I believe it is, yeah.
Is? Okay. Because last time I think I asked in the group chat, I didn't get a, okay. Someone was also, okay.
I think they even have.
Get it on Amazon.
The day that the ashram had that little celebration or whatever, they had a bunch of them. So there may be books at the ashram.
That's good.
If you're traveling there, I don't know.
No, I have to, because December is the one when I got initiation, so I'm making a point going every December.
Oh, good.
Wow.
And the one you pasted today, I was in that talk too. The December 23rd talk, so.
Oh, good.
Wife asked a question.
You what?
Wife is on the thing too.
Who is?
Manohar's wife.
Oh, okay, cool. So that the video that I put out today, the December 23rd, you're in that.
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was the one I think asked when is a good time to meditate.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we're going to see you on that if we can't see you here. But anyway.
Yeah, we'll see what.
Yeah.
Is Siddharameshwar Maharaj's grandson now holding talks and stuff in the ashram? Do you know Manohar?
No, I don't, because I don't know who he is, John, to be honest. Because the last I went to in India was July 27th, the Guru Purnima.
Mm-hmm.
And so now this is October, right? Next November, I'm going to go back. Because my father has cancer, and again, my family is there too, so I'm like coming up, going to US and India.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, definitely me, my wife, and my daughter. Because my daughter also, she got initiated.
Right. Yeah, you were talking about that. That's good.
Yeah, so we three usually go, but yeah. But that was like really last time when we went, the roads are literally empty. Now, yeah. This time, we will make a point actually to go every time. We're going to go every time.
Good.
Hoping if I was there in India, probably I'll go once every month, but I'll try to make it at least once a month. Only my kid complains that she says, like, I can't travel like this, Dad. She says. And we, yeah, she's a small kid, 10 years, so we can just and get her along, even though she complains.
Another question I had, John, was the image you have of Maharaj hanging up on your wall. Do you have a digital like image of that can be emailed or?
Yeah, were you on the like for the Google Drive, the shared? Actually, you know what you can do is go to ramakantmaharaj.us.
Okay.
And the Inchigiri Namna Sampradaya, I've put links and downloads to all those pictures in full form that you can blow up.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I have, yeah.
I want some of the snaps, so yeah, because in the WhatsApp, the quality is low, right? So I want a full snap, and I'm going to print it out too, at least 4x6.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this I'm not sure how. It's a poster, and then there's another one I showed you all last week that's, I mean, life size basically, and also one in my bedroom of him meditating that's life size with all the masters above it. But those I did get. I think Alex, because Alex takes photos that are mind-blowingly awesome in like 3,600, resolution. So, but these high resolution, if you go to ramakantmaharaj.us, they'll be there.
Okay, good. I was reading the philosophy this week in this section on mind, which is number 5, and I found it to be very, very helpful. Things that you hear all the time, but it's kind of like repetition is what what this is all about. And he uses one. He uses like an analogy. He says like, for the person who is not, I guess, realize, the mind is like an elephant that takes him or her for a ride. And he said for the Yanni, the mind is like a fly that catches a ride on an elephant. And then, and Ramana Maharshi used to say that in India they put a chain link, like when they walk in an elephant through a busy area, where there are a lot of carts and everything with, like vegetables and fruits and, like kitchenware and things. They give the elephant like a chain to hold in its trunk so that it don't swing its head around and knock everything over. It's kind of like trying to grab everything, and it just holds a chain. We said like that's the mantra, just with a chain holding it there. Just constant repetition of the mantra. But,
where can I get one of those chains?
It's a great story, Andrew. Thank you.
But I always tried to get into the, like I know that Siddhar Meshwara Maharaj talks about Ganesh, how, before you do anything, you should, well, at least when he does master self-realization, Saraswati, which is the goddess, and then the god Ganesh, and those two are very important. And I always did try to get into the idea, the elephant, and I'm beginning to catch on to the elephant. Like the person who's realized is, in a sense, like huge, limitless, like the elephant. And the mind is like the fly catching a ride on it, trying to hang on.
Yeah, because the mind can only produce thought before you, the formless. And once you know your formless nature, you've caught the mind. Then the mind is nothing, because everything that it's producing is about the form world, because that's all it knows. It's as if you had a partner in your dream that was interpreting this dream through the dream state. But then you wake up and you're like, well, I don't need that interpretation at all because it was just a dream. And the same way with this body knowledge, once you realize your formless nature, your true self, and you know yourself in a real sense, then this mind is nothing. It doesn't even... It stops because it's presenting ideas to you only when you have the belief that you're a body. It's that pressure of body knowledge. Once the pressure of body knowledge is, I think Maharaj uses the example of burst the balloon. It bursts the balloon, and the mind can no longer kind of trick you with body knowledge type things, because I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. Body's not my identity at all. So all of this that's coming along with the body relations, the mind, the ego, the intellect, the form world, has nothing to do with the selfless self. Just nothing. And then you take lightly. Everything is very light. You just go and do this and do that, but it's not so serious. You're not trying to like get something out or wrest all of you can out of life. It's just very kind of nonchalant and you take lightly. You can't take life seriously when you're not there. You know, and when you know that it's all just illusion, then what's the point of taking anything? You can't take the touch. There's no touch. It's just you're moving through. That's it. And when you talk about the elephant and the mouse is riding on the elephant or the elephant is riding on the mouse. But in reality, both are in form and you are the formlessness in which both of these forms are appearing. So you're out of it completely. You never were anything. That's why Maharaj says nothing is there. Everything that you're seeing is absolutely illusion. You just have to convince yourself of that. Have the courage. The next question comes, what about my life? What about my job? What about this and that? The routine life, mind, ego, intellect is not a problem. It's only when you're starting to plan and you're starting to strive and you want things and you're desiring empty clouds in space that you are. The mind is kind of, in my experience, it's an instrument that is pressuring you to believe in body until you've snapped out of it, and then it stops pressuring you. It just stops. There's no more thought process about this me or what it has to do or any of these things. It just stops. There's just no mind at all because you're not thinking about yourself because there isn't a self to think about. And then you're just formlessly aware. Space in space. That's it. Objects are appearing in space and you're talking. You can see people walking around and all that. And it's empty bodies. Because when you're not in here, then they're not in there because it's all you anyway. This recognition is quick, easy. Mantra allows you to kind of clear away the conceptual beliefs and stop the pressure of body knowledge enough so that you can actually see, I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. Nothing to do with the body is me. Nothing. There is no me. And that's why, like, people talk and they ask all the time, Maharaj, if I'm not realized, what happens when I die? Well, but you weren't born. Nothing's happening. Nothing's going to happen to you. In the dream world, whatever happens is it's not happening because it's not true. So the unborn child is worried about what's going to happen when it dies. And it was never born, so it never died, so it doesn't really matter. And you just have to have that conviction, that fearlessness, that yes, so that I am that. And then the form loses all its bite, and there's no more mind pressuring you in because it can't. You know, it's like somebody whispering in your ear, oh, watch out for this thing, but you know it's not there, so what does it matter? And yet you can still do your job, do your duties. As a matter of fact, you probably fearlessly step forward and are willing to just be. You're no longer worried about, well, what if I volunteer for this and it's not good, and then people think I'm terrible, or you know, my boss might not like the fact that I can't do that. No, you're not thinking of it like this is in front of me. Okay, it's there. Knowing that all the time it's not. Again, that's why most of the sages will say, if you live your waking state in the same way you live in your dream state, knowing that you're going to wake up and it's not real, then your life will be very, very beautiful. You'll have no pressure of mind, ego, intellect, and you'll be living the reality in every moment. And that's the truth. And that's the truth that is found. That once you step forward and you begin living the reality, then the mind is like, okay, you know what? Master's home. What can I do? I cannot do anything. I keep telling him to worry about this and that, but there's nobody there to worry. There's nothing to worry about. And it's seen. And then mind bows to your feet. That's it. And then, of course, be normal, be simple, be humble. Because when you know that you are everything and all things and everything and nothing can be without you, then you are naturally humble. Because who are you going to make a show to? Who are you going to sit there and say, oh, look, I'm very spiritual, I'm enlightened, come over here, bow to me, let me write books? Who? There's nobody. There's nothing. It's just you. You're in the audience clapping, and you're up on stage making the speech. What is that about?
It's called ignorance.
Yeah, it's called ignorance. Exactly.
Like preaching to the choir.
Oh, look how great I am, and you're on the audience, and you're bowing and clapping as well. But it's all you. And you, the you that you are, doesn't need all that applause, doesn't need all that attention, because there's a knowingness that you are that. That's it. And when you have this formless sense of presence that you know the entire world is appearing on, that without your presence nothing can be, and again, except your selfless self, there's no God, there's no Brahman, there's no Atman, there's no Paramatman, there's no master, nothing is there. Nothing is there, nothing was there, nothing will ever be there. There is an appearance of something in the nothing that will fade back into the nothing. And every one of us, at one time or another, was trying to hold on to the something that is nothing. Through belief in being a body. Through belief in, this is John. John has this family. John has this job. John has these responsibilities. John has this education. John has these achievements. John, what is that? Like we talked about the dream guy going to college, working hard to get his doctorate degree. I'm sure he'd say the same thing. You know, Tom is working hard. His wife has 2 jobs. He's striving to get this degree. He studies for hours and hours and hours. And he really, truly believes that he's doing that. Then you wake up and Tom is no more.
It sounds so insane to say nothing is happening or that Tom's not there. There's some kind of it's a temporary form, but it's a form.
It's nothing. Because you, the dreamer, it's in your consciousness, so to speak. When you go to sleep, boom, the dream world is created. Like Maharaj says, mountains, sky, moon, all this, Tom's wife, Tom's kids, Tom's hopes, Tom's dreams, Tom's activities. It's all in a speck of consciousness that projects an entire dream world that Tom is a character in and believes himself to be Tom who's working towards a medical degree. Just like at one time, John believed that he was doing these things and needed to do these things, that John was on a spiritual journey, that all of this, but is just the same as Tom.
It's still seems to be at least a temporary.
Only because you take yourself to be body form. You are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. Anything that has to do with the body is not you. This idea of Keith is a concept. And once the body falls, that concept will be no more, because you're using body to try and have this, to hold this concept. You're the holder of this body named Keith, but you're not Keith, and you never were, and you never could be. Keith is a form like grass that gets mowed and thrown in the garbage and tossed. It's the same. And I'm not saying that just to be mean to Keith. John is the same. John is like a dandelion that you pluck out of your yard and toss away.
But you're still speaking of it as being a dandelion. And it's a temporary experience.
Inside of the illusion, the unborn child labeled John is also comparing himself, because there's nothing really understood other than form, at being a dandelion that can be discarded, trying to explain what can't be explained because there is no words, no form, no ideas, no concepts, no beliefs of any kind. There's nothing. And yet, because there's the belief of being in the something, speaking about something, something has to be conveyed, but it's nothing. There's nothing. Everything that you believe yourself to be, you are not. Every concept that you try to create to describe what you believe yourself to be is false. Every hope, every dream, every aspiration that you have is limited to a time frame in a body form. And when the body form is no more, these hopes, dreams, ideas, and desires that were only in the something that was always nothing are no more, because they never were. That's why Maharaj says nothing has happened. Nothing is happening, and nothing ever will happen. And Keith doesn't have to figure out whether he's the supreme being or whether he's just Keith, because Keith is not. The phenomenal kind of something is trying to perceive how it's everything that's nothing. Using mind, ego, intellect that came along with the body in the form that you are not.
Like yesterday, I was seeing clearly that that everything was coming out of me, and that I was like getting somewhat attracted to the idea that I am. I mean, it's like when you see that you are everything, but you see you're nothing. And I was tending to go with the I am everything more so than the I am nothing. I was noticing that I am everything, but I wasn't so much noticing that I am nothing. Although they go hand in hand, so I mean, it had to be there, but.
And the reason there's no experience and no experiencer is because there's no I am to believe it's everything or nothing. There's just a void of nothing. There's not a you. There's not an I am somebody else. There's literally just space. That's why Maharaj says, if at all you want to compare yourself to sky or space. Sky and space don't believe they're everything or nothing. And the India sky and the American sky and the Chinese sky and the Russian sky don't know that they're those labels. They're just sky, and they don't even know they're sky. That's why Maharaj says presence does not know that you are presence.
So I guess you know when you start thinking that you are everything, that the old ways are starting to creep back in, I guess.
Well, it's just any thinking process, and it's progressive steps. I mean, just like I told when I was in the ashram and I felt like I was expanding into everything, which then later on I understood to mean because body was dissolving. There wasn't this pressure of body. So the concept through mind of interpreting what it was like to dissolve body was a feeling of expansion. But in reality, it wasn't expansion. It was dissolution.
Right.
But again, through interpreting mind can only interpret an individual, a person having an experience. You, the selfless self, are dissolving all of this through this holding on to this sense of presence, through mantra, inviting the attention of the invisible listener. All the false is dissolving, but as it's dissolving, mind is trying to still make sense of what this disillusion is and what happens to this. Okay, we're dissolving. That's kind of cool as an idea, but what does that mean? Like, what is that? What is dissolving? And what is it that dissolves? And once that is in process through mantra, through remaining with your selfless self, through meditation, and the invisible listener is kind of pulling away and keeping the attention on itself and not out here anymore, then all these things that were vying for attention are fading and fading and fading and fading. And mind, like Maharaj said in one of the videos that was just released, about mantra in the beginning can really cause agitation, nervousness, anger, feelings of all kinds to erupt. And that's that cleaning. I think he called it spiritual purification. It's the cleaning of all these things. Like Nisargadatta Maharaj says, evicting the tenants. These tenants, you're gone, gone, gone. But mind is trying to interpret all these things. Don't listen to that. Anything that the mind presents to you, the formlessness, is going to be informed. So you catch him by the tail, because how? As you're beginning to know yourself in a real sense, this mind doesn't make sense anymore. It's like if you were in black and white and suddenly saw color, but the mind was still interpreting color through black and white. But you're seeing color, but the mind is still telling you and feeding you information and thoughts about this black and white world. Because it only knew black and white. It never knew color. The color is something new, and it's prior to the mind. That's why mind just goes silent. It has nothing to, it can't, how do you interpret something that you've never actually ever known? You can't. You're just quiet, because mind is sitting there chattering, 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 and it hits the unknown, and it's like, I'm going to call it a void, and we shouldn't go there. But then you step back, well, wait a minute, I'm the witness of this void, so that means that I am prior to the mind that can't go beyond that.
The mind still, it still continues with its thoughts. I mean, they may not be as intense, and you may be much, you become more and more agile at recognizing what it's doing. But it does continue to move. I know that Ranjit used to say that the mind is like water, it must move. It's just, it's...
I don't know, because in not paying attention to it, I don't know if it's moving or not. There's no, a thinking process will come in like, okay, how do I have these 4 things to do today? Which one should I do first?
Yeah.
But as far as like, that's you being like, okay, you're kind of starting up the wheels of mind to do what it's supposed to do. Think of this situation, logically, whatever it is. But as far as random thoughts and such, maybe they're there, but there's no... It's dead. I mean, that's the only way to really put it.
Yeah.
Is in the reality, it's unmoving. There's no... It's unmoving. It would best be described as I think I said before, like an icy lake. And the lake is just iced over, and the ice layers are really, really thick. So it's I stopped buying thoughts a long time ago, so it stopped manufacturing. And then, like we talked about before, the factory closed down because it had no more customers. They fired the manager, they tore down the factory, and now the place where the factory was is just an empty lot. And yet again, still crank up the mind for thinking what to do. Oh, look, I have 3 bottles of water left in my fridge. If I want to continue drinking water, I need to go to the store and purchase some water. And then that's that same thing that Maharaj says. You have a decision, intellect makes the decision, implements through ego. So this thought comes in, we're running low on water. If we want to continue drinking water, I need to go to the store. Decision is made, go to the store. Implemented through ego, going, picking this up, and putting it in the fridge so I have water. But not like, oh my God, I'm running out of water. What to do? No, what to do? Go to the store. Everything is like that. Anything that has to be done is just done in the moment and put down. And 20 seconds later, it's not thought about. I will say, I just saw a bug land on the wall. And there is a thought that goes through my mind every time I see a bug. that Sri Siddhameshwara Maharaj said in Master of Self-Realization, and I can almost hear this every time I see a bug. It's not that we don't kill bugs in the house. It's that they are our very nature. They are the same as myself. Their happiness is my happiness. And I turn and I don't bother the bug. Simply because, and I'll even sometimes sit and say to the bug, your happiness is my happiness. I know that sounds crazy, but these are the kind of impressions. Because Master says this, you say, ah. And even in the book, it goes on later to say, when you do this, you will feel this intense oneness with this little bug. And the cool thing is, too, because everything's projected on your spontaneous presence, that bug is no more, usually.
Yeah, you know, John, when I see a bug, I think that I need to send him to his next lifetime.
There you go.
I'm doing me a favor and him a favor because reincarnated as a mouse next time, or an elephant.
Exactly. He may even have opportunity for human birth.
It's time for you to go on to your next life.
But no, like I said, it's only because it was impressed in me from Master of Self-Realization. There are certain things that happen throughout, like, and they're impressed and you hear it. That's that inner self-devotion. That's that selfless self, Atman Vidam Bhakti or something like that, where you're speaking to yourself from yourself. And that's the kind of thing. It's just automatic. See a bug? Oh, okay. Your happiness is my happiness.
I guess when I say that thinking, you know, like the thinking continues is maybe like if you see something that's very attractive, like someone's done some creative work or something, the thought comes that it's very attractive, and then you may think, well, I wonder how they did that, how they put that together. Maybe it's just not creating a story around the thoughts that are coming. I'm not sure, because you may interact with a person and the person is really cranky or something like that. You know, you walk away and you say, well, gee, that person was cranky. You think that. And you know, like you don't create like a storyline around it. It's just basically observing things, and you know, because participating in the dream, I mean, to participate in the dream, there has to be some kind of I guess awareness or consciousness that you don't buy into necessarily, but you still use. You know, well,
it's momentary though, and in the in the thing that you were just talking about the person or the crankiness or whatever, because that's only if I'm identifying body form with another person. There has to be a me. See, you can move. Everything is moving, but there's no more commentary. Like what you just said, those four things, each one had a commentary on what was, rather than just formlessly aware. Awareness is aware, observing, but not necessarily needing to comment. Even a beautiful painting, you look and you're like, okay. And you can you'll feel the presence in different things, but there's no interpreting. There's no, even if at work, I can interact with everyone easily and quickly without being there, without needing to have a me that's forming a position. Or that's, you know, that's even thinking, I wonder what this person is thinking about what I'm saying. Am I conveying my message correctly? No, because it's just occurring. And nothing, I'm not taking the touch that it's really a horrible, you know, what if it goes wrong type thing, because it's just an activity in the moment that's done and finished. And there's really no thought about it. And if you look back on your just last couple of days, I think it was Nisargadatta Maharaj who said, what did you have for lunch 3 days ago? These kind of things, it's there and finished, there and finished. It doesn't carry with you. And there's no, there has to be a you, and I am somebody with these beliefs, these concepts, these ideas, this pressure of body knowledge that I'm speaking to another in order for this mind to send thoughts specifically identified with through identification as a me. Like I said, there may be thoughts going, but I don't, there's no...
You don't pick them up. It's like throwing paint in the air, you know, it just splatters on the ground. Yeah.
Like if you were to take white noise or something and put it in the background, and after a while, it just becomes part, or a humming that a light is doing. You know, a humming that a light maybe does, and you're doing your work, and maybe when you first come in the morning, you might hear it humming, but by the midday, you don't. And mind is just, it might be there, but there's just, it's not doing anything. It's not, there's nothing that it can present to me that I would say, oh yeah, this is important or this needs to be done, other than practical things like we talked about, the water. I'm running out of water. Or lay my clothes out for work tomorrow. I do that because I wake up at like 4 a.m. I'm sorry. I wake up at like 4 a.m. So I'm putting clothes out, but it's not a thought process because in reality, this is like, it's a weed.
That's the same. That's this, you know, like from a different perspective, that's the same thing as, what people would term as surrender. You just basically, you're just not there, and you just surrender completely. You know, just absolute surrender. Yeah.
It's the whole thing. You know, there are people that, thy will be done, not mine. Thy will, not mine, be done. Same kind of thing. Okay. It's whatever the will of what is happening, and that's it. There's no me to complain about it anymore. See, this mind, I guess in the biblical sense, is like the devil who's constantly saying, I don't like this, this is no good, that's no good, and finding fault with everything. But once you're not finding fault because you're spontaneously accepting everything that's occurring, because there's not enough space for a you in the spontaneity of accepting, there's nothing. It's that razor's edge of reality that's too thin for a you. You don't fit in reality. You can't be there. If you're there, then you start to create Maya or illusion because you're a little bit, not to say chubby, but you know what I'm saying. Like if you're super thin because there's nothing there, razor's edge of reality, not enough for you to be. And if you start to come into reality because you're getting a little heavy, then all of a sudden falseness is allowed to come in because this space of what's reality and what's false continues to grow and you get lost in it. Because you start to believe. See, if you start to believe that the world is real, that's a problem. Your mind is going to have a camp and sit back and be like, aha, you believe the world is real. Or this part of the world you don't believe is real and you're cool with that, but family, ooh, got you there. Or job, that's what you really want to be successful and all that, so I got you there. And the mind just sits back in a camp yard and enjoys torture, you know, plays all kinds of tricks. And then concepts come, more concepts, more concepts. One little concept believed in births an entire nation of concepts. It's in the nature of concepts to multiply, actually.
But isn't there also like a freedom of expression of the being that doesn't come from the me? You know, it's like, you know, I was just thinking about artists who, they have to get out of the way in order to create their art. So in a way, that's an expression that's coming through them, but they're only an instrument, and there is a uniqueness to that. But they're not caught up in it, you know, unless their ego gets, you know, involved. But they can be channeling, you know, the like music, you know, somebody who's really.
But again, there's a lot of belief in that statement in individuality, that there's an individual that's doing something rather than it's just an object in consciousness.
There's no individual doing anything.
That's correct. It's just consciousness acting through that form.
That's what I'm saying.
But then there's a belief in that causes to say, oh, now this, you know, I'm channeling this music or whatever.
You don't have to have that thought, though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. In the idea of consciousness coming in, see, there's no individuality. So to say like, how does an artist do this, or how does this do this?
It's not them that's doing it. It's coming. It's using them as an instrument.
But then, but what you were originally saying, I thought, was, doesn't it have like some kind of a flavor to the beingness without the personality? But again, that's an individual. It's not like, I believe Nisargadatta Maharaj says that each one of these bodies is just from the gunas or whatever, how the 5 elements are behaving inside this body tends to be how this body is acting with the life force in it, moving it around. So,
yeah, but there's no ego in that.
but again, there's a sense of an individuality trying to do, when you're saying that this is an artist.
No, I'm saying that's an expression, but it doesn't have to be tied to a me. It's just a channeling. It just is coming through. Unless they think, oh, I'm a great artist, well, that's a different story. But it just uses them.
Yeah, it's just that the flavor of individuality, there just aren't any individual.
So you could say it's a production of the gunas, the artwork, I guess, or something.
Basically, yeah. I mean, because see, in order for me to say, how does this artist do this, I have to be here, and there isn't a here. It's the same if we go back to Dream. The dreamer says how these artists are having their selves doing, and how this artist over here can paint, and this one can do music, and how it channels through them, but it's just the dreamer dreaming. There's no separation. It's just a show. So that individual element is operating, consciousness is operating in that through music, but then another individual would believe that it's somehow channeling through that object, but it's just it's a spontaneity. There's no cause. It's not like that.
No, but I see that there is this wonderful, diversity of, it's like the universe producing a flower. It produces roses, it produces daisies, it produces lilies. You know what I mean? They're different on one level, but they're still the same essence. It's just a different expression.
Right.
That's all I mean.
So, John, what you're saying is that, like, there's no channeling because there's just nothing there, period. It's like a dream.
Exactly. It's only appearing to be channeling when you believe yourself to be a body in a world, and you're observing a channeling going on in another body form because you believe yourself to be a body that consciousness is channeling through. But these are just objects in consciousness randomly moving about, and the only way that they even make sense is that there's a me that's trying to identify with a them.
But you have said before that you're just here using this body as an instrument to know yourself.
Yeah, see, and even that now is not, you know yourself through body form, but it's not a conscious act. It's not like that.
Doesn't it kind of begin at that level, and then you kind of,
yes,
you
yes.
take yourself to be a body?
Again, as long as the body-mind is believing itself to be a body-mind, all the experiences are filtered through this conceptual belief of being a body-mind. Remaining as the selfless self and totally being outside of this body-mind and all of the activities that are in it, and there's no more commenting about it, and it's just not like that. It seemed that in order to perceive in this way, it has to be through the instrument of body-mind, as if it was a telescope and you're seeing, but you're saying, I'm seeing through this perception. And once this perception is cleared, it's no longer used as a point of reference to view and perceive other things. It's not like that. There's perceiving, but there's not a perceiving point anymore. It can't be traced back to a perceiving point, because as it's traced here, there's nothing. It just, and at the most state, you're formless. You just know this. You've stopped kind of buying into anything that's form. even the formlessness is, this form is in myself and somehow is moving around and doing these things, but it's not really there's no taking any touch of any kind. And perhaps previously there was speaking, and I know with the more you remain with your selfless self, the more everything dissolves completely, because it's just the natural process and there's no one doing it. The doer, I guess, for a time can be a body mind that holds on to the sense of presence and dives into presence rather than play in the form world. And after a while, presence becomes this magnet that just pulls in a black hole, really. That the whole world, the body, the mind, the ego, intellect, all of that just sucks into this black hole that you are. Your spontaneous presence, it projects the entire world, but there's no, it's a black hole is a good example, actually. If the whole room and everywhere where you were to just kind of cave in on itself and all conceptual beliefs and everything prior to beingness, because there hasn't been a beingness, because you're in that prior to beingness state, and truly because the ego, mind, intellect believed at one time that it was in beingness and in the world and was a form. All of that is now collapsing into itself, and there you are. I don't know if that made sense, but
oh yeah, that's a good analogy.
So you reach the point where where you say nothing has happened, nothing is happening, nothing is going to happen. It's kind of like the end of the line, basically.
Because there's not an interpreting mind, and there's not a you in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, it's literally like turning off this computer and it's gone. It's just, okay, but here now, functioning in this, but not like no conscious functioning, I guess is what you could say. Even the speaking and whatever, this is just.
But the world is still there, right? Like, like the dream is still there. And I think Ramana Maharshi once said, it's like, during the day, the moon, you're aware of the moon in the sky because you can see the vague outline, but it doesn't take your attention anymore. It's just kind of there, basically. And I guess there's the awareness that this dream is happening around you, right?
But not a cognition of that.
Yeah.
No cognitive process of any kind. It's just here and moving and but there's no putting the pieces together and making them a timeline that you call a day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You would know, like, okay, daytime, nighttime, it's dark, and it's light, it's daytime, we're doing, and you're going to work and doing this and riding on the metro and all these kind of things, but there's no process of time and space, basically. Because there's not an object in space that creates time.
I almost noticed that I was getting a different sense of time. Like time, I couldn't, just yesterday, I guess it was, my sense of time was changing. Like it was like days, there wasn't different days, or it was like I couldn't imagine a different day or something. I don't know.
Well, time is a concept created through mind with a point. Like, you think if you look at a clock and it had no hands, what time is it? Well, the hands are points on a clock from which you measure. If you're not measuring yourself in body form, then you're not in space, which creates time. There is nothing. And Maharaj has said many times, you are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. This that you are, all of this that you appear to be, you are not. You are when all of the appearance is not. And then you're just, I would say even, you're not even waiting for the time and the body to expire as entertainment because you're not there.
Somebody says you're living in denial, I guess you just don't care, right?
Who is somebody? Somebody is going to be my selfless self. And for somebody to say I'm living in denial, it has to have some kind of recognition of something. And see, like Maharaj says, when you know yourself in a real sense, the entire world can line up against you and tell you you're crazy and you're wrong, and it won't matter at all. Like, you know the reality. You're living in the reality. And I don't even have to tell you that you're not. You know, oh, your perception is through the body, mind. I don't even, who cares? It's, Maharaj talked about the elephant. You've seen the whole elephant. The blind is saying the leg is, you know, elephant is like this. And okay, elephant is like this because that's the part you've seen. And that's the concept you're holding on to in the moment until a new concept is presented that will erase that concept. And then eventually, you won't hold on to any concepts because there won't be a, like Nisargadatta Maharaj says, there won't be a hook to hang your picture. There's no hook. What can you hang on yourself if there's no hook? Nothing. There's no you. There's no I. There's no me, he, she, it. Nothing, 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 nothing. There's nothing. Everything that you're seeing is illusion. The seer that's seeing is observing the illusion using body form for a time and then won't be using that form anymore. The telescope will break and you won't be able to see into the illusion anymore because your telescope is broken. But it doesn't mean that something's died. Just this is no longer an instrument of seeing or perceiving the dream world that I am not. The only way the dream world even is when this body form is available for the presence to be able to peer inside the illusory world. And then you're out. And dream consciousness and waking consciousness is the same. It's consciousness that's, you lay down at night and boom, a dream world is projected. You wake up in the morning, and as soon as that sense of I am is there, boom, your waking world is projected. But you believe that the waking world is more important than the dream world, but both are dream. This is a longer dream because until this body falls, you won't wake up from that dream. And speaking of time, it's 8:10.
Okay.
His name is up, so I couldn't tell where you were looking. Then I know. Oh, okay.
There must be hands on clock. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Thank
night.
you
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.